Okay, quick little update. I have glued some rocks in the waterway. They're not 100% glued down. There's a few that are still loose. I need to go back and do a little bit more of that. I've also done some pre-shading on the rocks up here. I'm about to start painting. You can see at the top, a whole bunch of different colors of paint. Got my airbrush out and I'm just going to go to town and paint the crud out of the scenery. Be back when it's done. Okay, I'm going to take a short stop just so everyone can see what I've been doing with this thing. Alright, I have been painting. The base is now green, and the waterfall, as you can see, is now more of a rock color. I did the pre-shading, you saw that, then I've hit it with 3 or 4 different colors of brown, just in different passes to give it some different tonal values, and I think it came out pretty good. I'm about to start on the river. I want to add some dark green to the base because the water around that castle is not the cleanest. And then I got to start working on the field and getting her all squared away. And this thing's done. Just want to let you guys know where I was at. Back with it later. Alright everyone, what I did is I got some PVA glue, watered it down, brushed it on, and sprinkled some static grass on it. I don't know how well that static grass is going to stick, but it will give some color variation over the base mat and give it some good looks. Now I gotta let that dry for at least a half hour to an hour before I can come back and touch it. Then I'm going to take the board outside and shake it to get rid of the extra static grass and see what we got. And I put a tree in the center just to see what she looks like. And for fun, let's put Godzilla in there. That's where Godzilla's going to be. So I think this is going to end up looking pretty good. I need to do some more painting on the sidewalks too. Alright everyone, here's the end result of taking off the static grass. I'm going to pull the camera off the tripod so we can take a look around and handhold it, so everyone can get a better look at what's going on here. Okay, now on this side, and I'm blocking light, so light quality is changing, you can see Godzilla's footprints real well. I'm getting the sidewalk painted up. I need some more paint in quite a few more places actually. There's some tone variations going in the river for a reason, and I need to get to that. You can see the rocks, you can see all the tonal variations in the rocks pretty easily if I pull the camera up here. Same thing with the waterfall. Okay. Over here, King Ghidorah's footprints aren't showing very well. Catzilla's print's right there, and it's the static grass kind of obscured it. But overall, I think this thing's coming out very nicely right now. I mean, it looks good to me, the way the static grass and everything came out. I'm going to get back at it. Again, I need to put some more paint on here to get that color evened out a little bit better, because it's not even. And put some trees and shrubs on. The base is done. Alright, back later. Everyone, what you're looking at is the corner where I'm going to put Mothra. I've got some pretty trampled trees right in that area. Still need to clean up a little bit because I just got done. In fact, you can still see some leftover trees there. But I just want to give everyone a quick overview. I still need to add the water. Been thinking about that. I'm probably going to go buy some clear resin, just mix up some clear resin and pour it in there. But I want to let this thing sit for a little bit. I got to make sure I got my walkways painted up well enough before I can proceed with much of anything else, and I got to let that dry. Once those walkways are painted, I can get the castle out and figure out how I'm going to mount that. And I have some Japanese maple trees I'm going to put along here and around the driveway, the circular pathway. So this is where it stands at the moment. Just thought I'd give everyone an overview. Alright everyone, I had 3 different choices for the water in this walkway. I could do clear resin, I could do these melting bead things. I'm looking around to see if any of them's laying out. Of course not, because I'm on the spot with it. Or I could do this liquid pour water, which is in that blue bottle down there. That stuff worried me a little bit. I'll use it for something else later. The pouring beads, this was a pretty large area and I was afraid of discoloration between pours. Oh, I got resin leaking out. I'm gonna have to stop and fix that. Folks, you can see I still have a little bit of a resin leak, but it's not bad. The stuff's starting to cure up, but I can see the level inside there has definitely dropped. So it makes me wonder where that resin's flowing to. That's okay, because I'd planned on doing a second pour to finish filling it up anyhow. So we're okay with that. I'm gonna let this cure completely before I do the second pour. And hopefully I won't get any dust or anything on this. But I like how the resin looks as water. I think it looks pretty good as water. It's nice and shiny, and it looks like it is water to me. Again, I'm going to have to do another pour because it just all vanished somewhere, and I don't know where it went. And it has me a bit worried. I don't know if this stuff can eat into that pink foam. If it can, that would explain where it went, but I don't think so. I think it just leaked out, but I'm pretty sure my leak is not all over underneath this table. Yeah, it's not. I got it pretty contained right there. And I got it cleaned off my tabletop. Yay! But anyhow, I like how it's coming out. I'm just going to have to do a secondary pour because, again, it all vanished somewhere. We'll be back later. Okay, as you can see, the resin did cure up in a few places, but it ran out everywhere else. This is not a happy disaster, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do about it. I may just leave it, simply because the resin ate up the foam core that I used for the base on this thing. It just ate right through it like it was nothing. And I thought I'd sealed it up, and apparently I hadn't, because there's one spot right there where it ate through, and there's one corner over there where it ate through, and it ate through up in there too. So I don't know what I can do about this. I've got that heat and pour stuff. It's not resin, and I may just use it to try to fill in the rest of this and see how that works. But I'm going to have to plug up those holes first with something, because that stuff will just pour right through there. But that might be a good thing if I let that stuff pour through there. So I'm going to have to do this tomorrow. I'm going to have to let this cure overnight and see what comes of it. It didn't eat up the foam core so bad that I lost structural integrity of this thing. So, you know, that's a good thing. This isn't out, but it's a learning experience. I now know resin eats that pink foam core up real quick. Well, there we go. I'll be back at this later, but this really was a setback because it ate up an hour trying to figure out what the hell is going on and watching it, because I didn't feel like I should leave this with resin pouring out in places. That just was not a happy, good thought. So there you go. I will be back with it later. Alright folks, I had a big problem when that resin went. You can see how much of the pink foam it ate up down here. And it caused this part to rise up over this part. You can see that if you look. I had to refill all this because there was huge gaps in here. So all this is newly added rocks, and you can tell it messed up my paint scheme a little bit. But not much, not enough for me to worry about. I may add some water to this. I may not, because the water didn't come out really well. Because, well, you know, it bled into the red pink foam and ate it up. Just wanted to show you my repair work. I was going to build a nice case for this thing, but I'm not now because of that. That sand there, I was trying to figure out how to mount that castle in a way I could remove it, because I want to redo the base of this dio, because I want to build a nice case for it, but sand was not working. So I'm going to resort to my old friend Aves here. I've been using so much of it, I went out and got the 4-pound version this time. I'm not going to be using that up very soon because, well, hopefully I'm not doing anything like this again. So I'm going to use the Aves to get the castle mounted. That way I can do some painting. I've got about 19 hours left in this contest before the deadline. And all I have to do is mount that castle. Stick the people on here. That's it. This thing's done at that point. Oh yeah, and put these little trees in. Those little trees don't take anything. I've already got the holes drilled. It's just a matter of sticking them in and gluing them down. And that takes minutes. And I got to clean up this a little bit with a vacuum cleaner. But there you go. Now you know where I'm at. And you can see what the resin did and how much damage that sucker caused. Not very happy with that, but nothing I can do. It's a learning experience. I really learned something from that. But again, I can redo this baseboard, and I can do it better than I did this time. Back in a bit. Alright folks, castle's mounted to the diorama. Okay? And we have little things that look like ants everywhere. They happen to be people. We have people running out of the castle. Yes, we have people leaving the castle now. And I stuck some in the rocks, so we can see some spectators out in the rocks. But anyhow, all I have left now is maybe pour some of that water in there, maybe not. And I'm gonna go ahead and mount up the little purple trees, and this thing's done. Oh, I want to talk about mounting these teeny tiny little people on there. It took me a while to figure it out. When you cut them out, you will see they got little tiny tabs at the bottom of their feet. I try to cut it pretty flush with the bottom of the photo etch. You can see it right here where I cut it really flush, in places I didn't. Then I bend those tabs over to a 90-degree angle using my tweezers. That gives them something to stand up with when you put the glue down. If you don't do that, they're almost impossible to get to stand up. Anyhow, there you go, letting you see what's going on.